Executor. I sense that Zeratul and his brethren are close by, but I have been unable to make contact with them. I fear they may be in grave danger. We must scour this area immediately and find the Dark Templar, lest they be overcome by the Zerg. Yes, Executor? It shall be done. Of course. Your will? Yes, Executor? Of course. It shall be done. Tarakala! Of course. Tarakala!
I long for combat.
Your will? Tarakala!
She house.
Yes, Executor? Tarakala! For Adun! Tarakala! Of course. For Adun! Tarakala! How may I help?
Mind if we tag along? Standing by.
What now,
I
cause?
hear you. For Adun! Tarakala! How may I help? Your will?
Jacked up and good to go. Give me something to shoot.
I hear you. For Adun. It shall be done. For Adun. Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. Tarakala. For Adun. Tarakala. Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. It shall be done. For Adun. Tarakala. Of course. For Adun. Of course. Tarakala. Of course. For Adun.
Did you hear that?
It shall be done. Yes, Executor. Tarakala. Of course. Adun! Tarakala! It shall be done. For Adun! Of course. It shall be done. For Adun! Yes, Executor? Tarakala! Of course. Tarakala! It shall be done. Tarakala! Shall be done. Tarakala! Of course. It shall be done. For Adun! It shall be done. Of course.
Not enough energy.
Executor? Of course. Tarakala! For Adun! Your will? Of course. It shall be done. Of course. It shall be done. Your will? Of course. Tarakala! Of course. Tarakala! It shall be done. For Adun! It shall be done. For Adun! Tarakala! It shall be done. Tarakala! It shall be done. Tarakala! Of course. For Adun! It shall be done. For Adun! Of course. It shall be done. For Adun! I hear you. It shall be done. Tarak Tarakala! Of course. For Adun. Tarakala! For Adun. Tarakala! Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. For Adun. It shall be done. Of course. For Adun. Of course. For Adun. Of course. For Adun. It shall be done. Tarakala! It shall be done. Of course. It shall be done. Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. It shall be done.
Mind if we tag along?
Your will? Of course. Of course. Tarakala! Of course. It shall be done. Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. It shall be done. For Adun. It shall be done. For Adun. Tarakala! Of course. It shall be done. Of course. Tarakala! It shall be done. For Adun. Tarakala! For Adun. Of course. It shall be done. Of course. For Adun.
Teleportation field activated.
Transmit. Initiated.
I hear you. Of course. It shall be done. Tarakala! Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. It shall be done. For Adun. Tarakala. Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. It shall be done. Of course. It shall be done. Tarakala. It shall be done. Tarakala. Of course. Tarakala. For Adun. How may I help? Tarakala. For Adun.
Receiving.
How may I help? It shall be done. For Adun, it shall be done. Tarakala! Of course. Your will? For Adun. Of course. For Adun. It shall be done.
Did you hear that?
Tarakala! Of course. For Adun. Tarakala! Of course. For Adun.
The warriors have engaged the enemy.
Give me something to shoot.
Yes, Executor? Of course. For Adun. Of course. Shall be done. For Adun. Shall be done. For Adun. Tarakala. For Adun. Of course. For Adun. Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. It shall be done. Of course. Tarakala! Of course. I hear you.
Mornan calls.
Yes, Executor? How may I help? Of course. Tarakala! Yes, Executor? For Adun. Tarakala. Of course. It shall be done. Tarakala. Of course. For Adun. Your will? Tarakala. For Adun. It shall be done. Tarakala. Of course. Yes, Executor? How may I help? Your will? Yes, Executor? Tarakala! Of course. It shall be done.
Mind if we tag along?
Yes, Executor? Tarakala! Of course. Tarakala! Of course. It shall be done. Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. Tarakala! Of course. Tarakala! Yes, Executor? It shall be done. Tarakala! Of course. It shall be done.
Mind if we tag along?
For Adun. Tarakala! Of course.
Jacked up and good to go. Commander. Outstanding.
I hear you. I hear you. For Adun. Tarakala! It shall be done. Tarakala! It shall be done. How may I help? It shall be done. For Adun. Tarakala! I hear you. Your will? I hear you. For Adun. It shall be done. For Adun. Of course. It shall be done. Of course. For Adun. It shall be done. Of course. How may I help? It shall be done. For Adun. Tarakala. Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. It shall be done. I hear you. I hear you. Tarakala. Your will? For Adun. Of course. For Adun. It shall be done. Yes, Detective. For Adun. How may I help? Of course. Shall be done. Of course. For Adun. It shall be done. Tarakala. I hear you. Your will? How may I help? It shall be done. Your will? It shall be done. Of course. Tarakala! For Adun. Tarakala! It shall be done. Your will? I hear you. It shall be done. Tarakala! Of course. Tarakala!
Mind if we tag along?
Yes, Executor? For Adun. Tarakala! Of course. For Adun. Tarakala! It shall be done. Of course. For Adun. Of course. It shall be done. I hear you. Of course.
Not enough energy.
It shall be done. I hear you. For Adun. Of course. It shall be done. For Adun. Of course. For Adun. It shall be done.